Right now, I am locked up in a fake village somewhere in Germany. There is no way out, but this is not a prison. Instead, it is a place of high hopes and deep despair. It's a village of confinement, yet at the same time it provides unknown freedoms to its inhabitants. Let's take a look around, and sooner or later you might just figure out the hidden purpose of this place. Inside the village's buildings, everything feels frozen in time. This radio looks like it came straight from the 40s. This television feels like it was originally bought to watch the 1998 World Cup final in crystal clear 240p. And according to this magazine, the German Chancellor is still Angela Merkel and not this highly charismatic pirate right here. The rest of the fake village stands in stark contrast to these first impressions. The hallways are modern and flooded with light. This indoor restaurant area looks like it was built last week. The outdoor area looks immaculate, and even the village's hair salon feels brand new. I will give you one final hint. You can find this abandoned bus stop in the old part of the village, but not a single bus has ever stopped here. All of the features and oddities I have shown you so far serve one singular purpose: to improve the lives of the village's inhabitants. Those inhabitants have a medical condition that will affect many of us one day. About 20% of all 80-year-olds suffer from it: dementia, which in turn means that what I have been referring to as a fake village is a so-called dementia village. And before we explore why dementia villages look the way they look, what special features they hide, and why inhabitants are grouped into neighborhoods, according to this funky diagram right here, let me first hit you with some dementia facts that will leave you stunned. Did you know that UK researchers developed a blood test for dementia? Or that Alzheimer's could be transmissible under extremely rare circumstances? Seeing headlines like these, I often wonder whether the information I'm getting is actually accurate. That's why I started using Ground News, a website and app that aggregates news articles from over 50,000 news sources, and allows me to compare headlines, see where sources politically lean, who owns them, and how factual they are. Here's how Ground News works. I can see at a glance that the Parisians' vote on SUV parking has been covered by 217 sources. This helpful graphic right here tells me the bias distribution of all the sources. As you can see, the story is slightly underreported on the right, which makes up only 25% of the sources. Right below, I can see who owns these sources using the ownership chart. Scrolling down, I can see every article about the topic and compare headlines. Next to every headline, text show me the ownership, factuality, and political bias of each source. This helps me quickly identify how different sources on the left and the right frame one and the same news story. My favorite feature is the blind spot feed. It highlights stories that are disproportionately covered by one side of the political spectrum. Ground News has become my go-to news site. I can easily understand what's true and what's not, and what is spin and what's not. And to help you take control of your news consumption and see the full picture, Ground News is offering you a special discount. Go to ground.news/mindthemap to get 40% of unlimited access to the Vantage subscription, which is $5 a month. When you subscribe using my link, you not only help me make more and better videos, you're also supporting an independent platform trying to make the news a lot more transparent. To understand the concept of dementia villages, we first need to understand dementia patients. People affected by dementia are often disoriented, restless, and mentally live in the past. This causes many of them to suddenly want to go back to their old jobs, old homes, or long passed away parents. In traditional nursing homes, dementia patients often escape and greatly endanger themselves, trying to run back to their old lives. This is why in many cases, dementia patients are sedated, fixated to their beds, or even locked up in prison-like conditions, as short-staffed nursing homes see no other way to keep them safe. In response to these horrible conditions, the Dutch dreamt up the concept of dementia villages. The first ever dementia village, called the Hogewijk, opened in 2009 and is located on the outskirts of Amsterdam. Dementia villages have a simple goal: to allow people with dementia to live in dignity in a safe environment that is as close to normal life as possible. This is why the villages mimic a real village as closely as possible. There are houses where each resident has a private room, and then there are communal areas inside and outside of the houses. There are destinations any other community would have as well: gardens, a small restaurant, a barber shop, and a supermarket. Visiting your parents who have dementia can be a heartbreaking experience. There might come a day where they don't recognize who you are anymore. This crushing pain causes many people to rarely visit anymore. Dementia villages offer inhabitants and relatives many activities they can do together. Going shopping, going for a walk, cooking together or visiting the barber shop. These activities lower the barrier for relatives to visit compared to a traditional nursing home and create opportunities for bonding. But why does the house we looked at earlier look like you stepped into a time machine on the inside? In the Hogewijk, the planners wanted the people to live in settings that were familiar to them. They chose 7 different themes, such as artisan, cultured or religious. The interiors of the houses reflect those themes in their design and feel. Here in Germany, planners chose to group people by Sinusmilieus, a German concept developed in the 80s that is meant to sort society into about 10 groups by lifestyle. All groups are plotted on a graph, depending on their social class and their value system, ranging from traditional to more progressive. This house here is meant for the traditional milieu, an older generation that loves order and security. They see themselves as righteous workers who keep their heads down and enjoy the little joys in life. Crossword puzzles, listening to their favorite radio program, watching football on TV, and eating a cabbage roll. Where this way of grouping people seems a bit silly and reductive, it generally is a good way to keep people more relaxed and relationships between inhabitants more harmonious. People from the same milieu tend to wake up at similar times, listen to similar music, and share similar values and interests. Let me also quickly explain why there is a bus stop in the older part of the village. When dementia patients want to go back to their old lives, they often walk out of nursing homes and seek out the nearest bus stop. Uninformed bus drivers might even pick them up, making it even harder for nursing staff and relatives to find dementia patients once they escaped. This village here is completely closed off. However, this fake bus stop was still helpful as it worked as a destination for restless patients wanting to go back to their old lives. They felt like they were progressing towards their destination while calming down and often forgetting their original intentions. Before we get to some of the criticism for dementia villages, let me quickly show you parts of the old care facilities. They were more sterile, hospital-like settings. A big issue is also that dementia patients like to be on the move. Stairs or smaller closed-off buildings greatly inhibit that desire. Not everyone is a fan of the dementia village concept. While people are reportedly calmer, less sedated, and have more freedoms and a higher quality of life, there still is some criticism. The main criticism is that people with dementia are locked away from society, living in a Truman Show-like illusion that nursing staff play into. While some villages are meant to attract people from the outside world to mingle among the inhabitants, critics say that rarely happens. For safety reasons, dementia villages are hard to access, and for financial reasons, they are often built far away from urban centers. As of today, dementia villages are a promising concept, but there are too few of them to give a holistic scientific judgment on the good and bad of their existence. Let me know whether you could see your loved ones or even yourself living in a dementia village one day. Please subscribe and help me hit 18,000 subscribers, and on top of that, a big thank you to my Patreon supporters Dead Ecupine, Game Bites, Brian Simpson and Needs More Cowbell.